Okay.
Frank, thank you for joining MovieJunk today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So before we get started, I must admit I'm a huge fan. If the inner kid in me comes out, I'm going to just ask you to bear with me, okay?
Yeah, no problem, man. My inner kid comes out every 5 minutes, so you're in good hands.
Awesome. And before we get things kind of kick-started, how's your New Year's going so far?
Good, not bad. I'm very excited about the movie. I mean, we've been waiting a long time for the release on this, and the reaction has been so wonderful from so many people. And and maybe in an offhanded way, the Zoom, the whole thing has worked out for the best.
Absolutely. And
So
I mean,
it's
Frank,
cool.
you have a career, spanning 55, plus
Yeah.
years. And I actually just had the privilege of watching the documentary actually a few days back and fell in love with it. But what as far as the timing goes, why was now the right time to make this?
Well, it wasn't my idea. I mean, that was brought to me by these young filmmakers, Derek Johnson, and they just said one day, we'd like to take you to lunch. We'd like to do a documentary on you. I was like, what? Me? Really? After all these years? And it went from there. I gave them all the names and the information of all the people I knew, and they followed through. And the next thing you know, they're traveling around the country doing interviews. I wasn't privy to any of the interviews on purpose. I didn't want to be there. I wanted people to just say what they wanted to say and feel what they wanted to feel. I didn't, because then I just wanted it honest. I didn't want it sugar-coated. I didn't want it whiny. Just let me have it, and that's what worked.
Was it easy to kind of go back to where it all started? Were there any touchy moments that were kind of hard to relive again?
What, when I saw the movie?
Just going back in time and kind of revisiting the past, and definitely seen it all. So
well, that kind of came about after I saw the movie, because before, again, I saw it with virgin eyes. I had no idea what anyone was going to say or do, and so I was kind of shocked and amazed myself. So it was actually pretty cool on my end. But yeah, now that I'm doing, excuse me, interviews, and there's a lot of people out there that know somewhat more of my career than I do. Now that all these bad movies I made that are coming out that are becoming like streaming things, it's like I'm becoming like the Ed Wood or of the millennium. So, but I mean, it's a lot of fun. I got to tell you, I love talking to you guys, especially movies. I mean, I love movies. I watch movies all the time. I always have my whole life. Always. Was always a film nerd. And, also being a musician in the 70s and 60s, we play at night. So I can't tell you how many early afternoon movies I used to go to in the daytime, because there's nothing to do during the day. So go sit in a movie theater. And it was just so great. Me, like 10 people in the movie theater during the day, So I have a deep passion for movies.
Are you binge watching any new movies or any
Oh,
TV shows
God.
today?
You know what, man? I binge watch a lot. You know what I've been binge watching, which to me is absolutely spectacular, is Hogan's Heroes. Oh, God, that's so great.
Classic.
It's just so well written, and they're such buffoons. It's great. It's like F Troop or those things like this. Binge watching, yeah, I mean, I binge watch Westerns all day. I mean, I go on Encore Westerns. I don't have to go too far. I go MeTV, Encore, AMC, or Turner Classic Movie. That's it. Blah, 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 blah. Because I don't even want to watch the news anymore. I'm just so done with opinions and pros and soapboxes. I'd rather just dive into something that I really enjoy, and I do. And movie is escapism. My mother, God rest her soul, who just passed away at almost 99.
Yeah.
She goes, Frank, I grew up in one of the hardest times of this country during the Great Depression, and movies were escapism. That's what it was for. That's why movies in the 30s and all were so popular in other ways, because it was an escape. people's lives were horrible. They weren't fun. They weren't anything. So people, for like a nickel would go to the movie theaters. And so maybe I just picked that up.
Well, speaking of westerns, I mean, you were in one of the all-time classic
Mm.
westerns of all time,
Tombstone,
Tombstone.
yeah.
On
That was a very interesting story. I love Tombstone. I think, I knew there were two Wyatt Earps coming out, and I said, yeah, but we got the cast. Sorry, good try, Kevin, but I think we had the cast on this one. I think Val should have won the act for best supporting actor, 100%. It was really weird. I was at Billy Zane's place. This is years and years and years ago, maybe 1992, something like that, or maybe four. And I was sitting there, I had a beard and I was sitting there, I smoked cigarettes and I'm sitting there in the kitchen drinking. It's like a kind of a Hollywood party, but in Hollywood, like one of these hip old hotel type things. And so I'm just sitting there. So this other guy walks in, he kind of looked as straggly as I did. And we're just sitting on the floor drinking, smoking cigarettes. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, just talking about gunfighters and westerns and crazy stuff. People are looking at us like, "Ooh, these two weirdos," right? Everyone else is talking about themselves, right? And their movies. So we just got along. I didn't know his name or anything. We just, for hours, just sitting talking about, I remember when Luke Short shot off Long Jim Courtwright's hand, all this stuff like that. So about a year and a half later, I get a call from my agency, who basically never called me. One of these type of people, they go, "Listen, they want you to be in this Wyatt Earp Western." I said, "Are you serious? A Western? Really? Oh my God." I said, "So where do I go? Do I have to go read?" They go, "No, you don't have to read. You got the part." I go, "What? What do you mean I got the part? How? That's impossible." She said, "No. Do you remember a guy that you were at a party at Billy Zane you were talking with about Westerns?" I go, "Yeah, I did." "Well, that's the director." I go, "Are you serious?" It was Kevin Jarre. Wow. He was the director and the writer and the whole concept of the movie. And he just liked me. I guess because I was kind of a strange bird in Hollywood talking about gunfights and guns when everyone else is so like PC. And I got the job. And he was great, man.
Yeah, I know for me, I mean, I'm an 80s baby. So like for me, my Westerns were Tombstone, Unforgiven.
Oh, Unforgiven's great. Great.
And for me, I mean, I was already a fan of yours, from the Rocky movies. Mm-hmm. So when I saw you in that scene, I remember when I was a young kid, I had to do a double take because it was much different from when I was used to seeing you in roles. But
no one recognized me. It's really funny. The two most famous movies I'm in, no one recognizes me, or no one knows I'm in it, which is Barfly and Tombstone, because those are the only two movies I ever did with a mustache. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I have the same name, Eddie the bartender and Ed Bailey.
Yeah.
And so it's funny. You would think people, "Oh, there's what's his name," but no one, unless I tell them. And I get it all the time. "Oh, I didn't know you were in Tombstone. Oh, I didn't know you were in Barfly." So I get that all the time.
Yeah. The fan in me wants to jump right into to Rocky, but I really want to spend some time kind of diving back into kind of how your singing career got kicked off. You kind of got the bug at a very, very young age.
Oh.
Kind of like a natural singer at a really
like 5 years old. Yeah.
Yes.
I know it's weird. I know, but that's how it happened. Like in the documentary, like how it was just that Sunday afternoon, I just opened my mouth, started singing, started getting some attention, which all little kids want. And that was all she wrote from that point on.
Were there any singers that motivated you as far as when you were growing up, kind of emulated?
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course, there was Frank Sinatra and Nat Cole, Tony Bennett, and then Elvis.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I saw Elvis the first time on TV when he first came on. And I was like, it's like you were looking at an alien or something. It's like, wow, no one ever saw anybody like this, And I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Even at 6 years old, I said, "Oh my God, that is it. That's it. Now I know where to focus my thing." So I was, I didn't even have a guitar yet. I was just like, running around the house with a broom, imitating Elvis, trying to, wear my hair like that as a little kid. And then, that went on. And then I was in doo-wop groups, which didn't have instruments, which be like you see in Rocky One, standing on the corner, that type of stuff. And then when the Beatles came out, that was it. That was it. That was the nail in the coffin. That was it. Because I said, okay, I have witnessed two of the coolest things in history. Well, the birth of rock and roll, obviously, Elvis. Well, three things, and the Beatles.
Yeah.
So I was there for all three of those, and that's pretty cool. I mean, to be there at the beginning of rock and roll, and so it was just a wonderful, wonderful time because I was into it. Everly Brothers, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, the Platters. I was into all kinds of music, everything. Yeah. And that's what got me started. I mean, I was a good mimic, and I just kicked off.
And your earlier bands, American Tragedy,
Mm-hmm.
Valentine, and I don't want to spoil too much of the documentary, but do you mind sharing kind of how the name Valentine came about?
I have no idea. It was 1968, and I figured that kind of sounds cool, because everything was like, those days, like Primeval Mist, the Plastic Frogs, or something like that. So I figured Valentine was a pretty cool name, and it kind of almost had like a little bit of a Western connotation because we were kind of like that country rock type group, not like Lynyrd Skynyrd, more like the Buffalo Springfield or the Moby Grape, things like the Youngbloods, more like that thing. And that's an American Tragedy. I don't even know how we got the name. I found out when we were doing the documentary when my keyboard player, who I hadn't seen in 50 years, Mike Bartasevich, who you see in the movie, I didn't know he named the group. I didn't know about Theodore Dresser's book called American Tragedy that was turned into a movie, The Place in the Sun. But he was a lot smarter than I was. I mean, he went to like a good Catholic school. I went to like a dunce school, So I guess they might have read Theodore Dresser. An American. I said, hey, wow, that sounds pretty cool. But before we had like real jive name like The Chosen Few, everyone, there were so many bad names, man. The Chosen Few, the Riptide Four, stuff like that. So the American Tragedy kind of had, and I don't think the crowd even got it. I don't think in those days our audience was that intellectual to know that it was a famous novel. Like we called ourselves Gatsby. You think these idiots would know who F. Scott Fitzgerald is? Of course not.
And he's definitely way more popular today than it was back then when the novel first came out.
Yeah, of course.
And one of your earlier gigs, you're performing at a kind of like a smaller bar, and you bumped into Bruce Springsteen.
Right. There was a place on 85th and 3rd Street called Kenny's Castaways, and I played there before. I was, that's after Valentine broke up. I was just an acoustic act. I'd been in Florida traveling around. I just played coffee houses and stuff. So it was an Irish pub type place where they had music. So I remember one afternoon I came in there, and when I think about it, it's so idiotic. I had an Irish accent. I said, so my name is Valentine there, and they're talking to guys. They're like, is this guy full of crap or what? Anyway, I talked myself into getting a gig playing there. So I played there a few times. And one day I was there to play, and I think my brother was there with his friend, John Hertzfeld, who's also in the movie. And as I'm walking up, I see like, those white things they have outside bars where they write, like, it's almost like a magic marker. It's like a wax pencil.
Oh, yeah.
And it said, appearing tonight, Bruce Springsteen. So I figured it was like a Jewish accountant. I didn't know what Bruce Springsteen. Yeah. So anyway, I go in there, and I walk in, this like goofy guy's on stage with a hat down to here, gravelly voice. I go, gosh, that's terrible. So I walk in the dressing room, and a few minutes later, I just hear all this noise, and I thought he was finished and they were just playing, music until I came out. And then I stuck my head out the door, and I went, oh my God, it was the East Street Band. and they were playing like Rosalita. I go, oh, I got to go out, follow that. So that was kind of like that was like kind of walking to the guillotine in a way, you know. That was not a good move. That was, but I did it. You know, you did it, and that's how music was in those days. You bucked up and you went out and did it. So,
I'd hate myself if I didn't ask. Are there any crazy Bruce Springsteen stories from a young Bruce you could share?
not really. No, no, it's really funny. Not really. I hadn't seen him again, and then I saw him at a place, pizza place called Santa Pietro's. This must always had to be 80, 81. And we started talking. I was sitting down. He was sitting there. We were talking. Very personable, nice guy. And he was telling me that Paradise Alley was one of his favorite movies, one of my brother's movies. And we were just sitting there talking. He's a very personable guy, real normal. I mean, it's really funny. He's such a huge star, but when he walks around on the street, that doesn't really pull that much attention. He kind of becomes nondescript, if that makes any sense. Where my brother can't go anywhere. Yeah. I mean, I've walked places where he's wearing a heavy coat and a hat, and people go, "Oh, it's Rocky," you know. So he can't get away with anything, because you know, I think it's different when you're a movie star and people, you know, see your head 30 feet big on a screen. You know, it's a little different.
Yeah. What's crazy is one time I was actually in Beverly Hills and I was having a conversation with Frank Pesci.
Oh, sure.
And I was having a conversation with him, and we're actually at Cafe Roma. And then we talked for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then I go and sit down, and then he comes in and shakes my hand. And then you actually were there too. And I was like, Frank, and I waved. This is a while ago. Definitely don't think that you remember, but I waved and said hello to you too. And then Stallone, your brother, comes in also. And I kind of hit the hat trick with, you know, once, because I was a big fan of Frank from Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, yeah.
And then obviously, you know, definitely loved you and Sly from Rocky. So I was just like, man, this is just unbelievable. And what I remember was really, really nice about your brother was that there was a couple guys that were taking a picture, and then he'd asked me, or I was jumping in to take a picture, and then I got cut, and then he goes, "Hey, you, come here," and I was like, "Oh," he let me go back in and respond, and we took a picture together, and I actually have it on my Instagram. But
that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's nice.
I thought I got pushed over. He was like, "No, you come back here." I was like, "Okay."
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, because you know, I think he handles himself pretty well, considering how famous he is and how long he's been famous. Where there's a lot of other actors, which I will leave nameless, that are really very rude and nasty to their fans. You know, and you always say, why do you go out? Why don't you stay home? Because if you're famous, you are going to get approached, and maybe you're not having a good day, you know, but they don't know that. They're just like fans of yours, and once you do diss someone like that, they'll probably never watch a movie you're in again.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why some people are afraid to go up to people. I mean, I've been lucky. When I first met Frank Sinatra, I was like totally, you know, and he was actually very cool. You know, he was really, really cool. So, you know, so I've met some of my idols, and they were actually pretty nice, but you're always fearful that they're going to be like a jerk, and you're going, God, now I got to sell all my DVDs. No.
Yeah, no, definitely didn't have that experience, but I've heard that before. But no, that was awesome. You know, kind of meeting you guys, and I know you mentioned Staying Alive. I mean, that was a movie that Sylvester directed, but I mean, you had a major part in that as well too. I mean, you wrote 11 of the songs and also got nominated for a Grammy as well too. So you had a really big role in that.
Yeah, movie. I did, and it was, and I believe that was a divine intervention, because there was no way that I was supposed to get. I'm always moving stuff. I'm watching stuff on screen. I got to move that. You know? But anyway, there was no way I was going to get in that movie. I mean, I went there when they early when they started when they started production. I mean, you have to understand, it's a sequel to Saturday Night Fever. So, you know, Robert Stigwood is also the Bee Gees manager, but he's also the producer of the movie, and my brother's the director. But there was no chance I was going to get, and I walked there. I said, "So I think there's any chance I can get any music in the movie?" He goes, "I doubt it." So he just said, well, you go write some stuff anyway. You never know. I think he was just trying to placate me, but I did. I went off and I wrote stuff, and turn of events happened. The Bee Gees were not happy with the movie. they kind of disappeared. They walked off, and then my brother called me. He asked me about the songs. Like, "Hey, remember those songs you wrote?" I go, "Of course I remember them. You rejected every one of them." "No, I forgot." And so, and that's what happened. And then one thing led to the next, and it was like a perfect storm, man. It really was. I mean, because I was at the end of my rope as far as my career goes. I was 32. I'd been in the business for almost 19 years. I mean, man, I got to get it together. Because I really had no skills to do anything else. So it was actually a little scary. It wasn't like I had a college education. I was like this real bright guy that was going to go out and change the world. I didn't have any of that stuff. So it was kind of scary in a way. So it would save my life as far as my musical life and as far as my spirit.
And that's where it starts too. And definitely, on the singing part of it, I mean, definitely been doing that for years. But I mean, 75 credits of both film and television shows as well too. Because from the Rocky movies, if I'm not mistaken, you were in the first three, and also Rocky Balboa.
Yes,
as well too.
I wasn't in Rocky 4, but my song was in Rocky 5. Some rap group did it. I don't know. Take You Back. I said, "Why you just call me? Why you need them for?" So anyway, so it's rock and roll in it.
And just kind of going back to the first Rocky movie, the scene in the alleyway, that was the Valentine band.
Yes.
Scene, right?
Yes. That was the Valentine band without John Oates. John Oates, at that point, was very famous with Hall & Oates. So he was definitely past the street corner singing.
Did you know at that time that was there anything special from shooting Rocky? Did you get a feel that maybe this could be a hit?
Yes, a gut feeling. I in Philadelphia, I went and watched some of the dailies, and there's just I can't put my finger on it. There's just something about it. And then when I went to California to visit my brother, I saw some more dailies, and I said, "Man, there's something going on. I can't, you can't." And then the more I saw it, I said, "Wow," and then all hell broke loose. I mean, you have to understand, there's no one famous in the movie other than Burgess Meredith, and he's an older guy. I mean, he's known as the Penguin. I mean, is he? Yeah, he's the Penguin, right? And or is he the Penguin or the Riddler? Penguin.
He was the Penguin.
Yeah. But he was an older actor. I mean, his career in Hollywood started in the 30s. So all of a sudden, it was like people just discovered this new unknown guy, and it was just magic. I mean, it started out, was only released in 2 movie theaters, New York and California. So they figured, well, they make their money back on their investment. I don't think they had any idea. And just people just loved this movie. They just fell in love with it. What can I tell you? They just loved it. And the rest is history. And, I got kind of pulled into the vortex because anything connected to Rocky was big time news, so I just happened to but I had my band, we were working our deal with RCA Records. I had a really good band. We sang on the corner, but we were a rock band, and actually a very good band. So all of a sudden we're doing overnight all these TV shows, big TV shows and stuff like that. And then after the Rocky thing kind of settled down, boom, done. So I believe I was caused on the TV shows. They, "Oh, a great song, Frank. You sound great. So what's it like being Rocky's brother? Huh? When you sleeping?" So everything, so all the questions, nothing about the music. It was all about that. And so I wasn't used to it because there's nothing that prepares you for that. You know what I mean? There's nothing that says, okay, here, 1 in a billion chances of an unknown actor becoming the biggest actor in the world overnight. There's no like, "Oh, okay, so if you're a younger brother, what do you do?" You don't. There was nothing. So I mean, I had no mentors. I was poor. I lived in a dump in Trenton, New Jersey. So only thing I really had was my group. And they're good guys, but they're not rocket scientists either. It wasn't like, I was getting great, great intel, you know what I'm saying? But that's what that was. And it was an amazing ride. But it came down crashing hard, boy. I'll tell you, I went from doing Dinah Shore, Mike Douglas, Merv Griffin, Midnight Special, all these big shows. Then the band broke up, and I was back playing at a place called the Ground Round for like $30 a night. And talk about embarrassing in your own town, where all of a sudden you're this big shot, you're in Rocky, you're on all the TV shows, you have this great band, and all of a sudden it's, wow, nothing. Talk about a lonely, lonely feeling and empty feeling. And I was playing these little gigs around town. Not that I liked playing, not that I was like, I can't explain. I wasn't like depressed, like I wanted to like jump off a building or anything like that, but it was a fall, because I missed my band because I loved being in that group. And so now I had no band, which is kind of like a family. I came from a broken family. So when you have a band that's been together for like 7 years, you're like family, you're like brothers, and so when that broke up and I was on my own, I mean, I didn't really, my managers really didn't have the time of day for me or anything like that. So I had to kind of go that road alone. It was sad, scary, because, and then my brother finally said, he goes, "Hey, what are you doing out there? Come to California." And he was the one that got me. I don't know if I would have gone. I didn't have any money. I didn't have the wherewithal. If I would have gone out there, where would I have ended up? Some dump in Hollywood, But thank God, I mean, I think everything is for a reason and a blessing. Thank God he was wealthy. Thank God I had a place to stay, if it wasn't, it was, and believe me, in my life, it wasn't for lack of trying. So it wasn't like I had the silver spoon. It wasn't from lack of trying. Sometimes you get to the point it's do or die, or you're just going to starve to death and become another fatality. And that saved me from that. So I'm always grateful for that. I mean, people, they say, well, I did it on my own with no help. Sometimes you need a little hand up, and that's okay. If someone loves you and someone's willing to do it, take it. Sometimes it makes them feel better.
Yeah, no, definitely. And even if someone has the talent, they still need help. If you're an amazing writer, you still need a producer that believes in you.
Oh yeah,
there's a ton of, and a lot of it is just pure luck.
It is luck.
But just kind of going back, to, as far as for me, with the first two Rocky movies, and I'm going to go back to, You in the Alleyway, the two songs that just always resonated with me is "Take It Back."
Oh yeah.
And also There Are Two Kinds of Love. I'm not going to try to sing.
Love. It's funny. I did another version of that. We did a version of that with music behind it. It's funny. People ask me about the song, and I've never performed it live. I think I'm gonna start doing it.
Oh, people will go nuts.
Yeah.
If I went to your show and heard you perform, I would go nuts.
I do Take You Back.
Yeah.
I do Take You Back, but I never did Two Kinds of Love, and I never did. I think 30 years ago I did Bad Night from Over the Top once. So there's a few things. I mean, in my concert, I do mostly everything. I do Peace in Our Life from Rambo. I do all the stuff from the Rocky movies and things like that. I mean, so it's really pretty cool.
I always wondered in Rocky Balboa, because we hear the Take You Back song, was that the original, or was it a remix or a newer version in the new Rocky Balboa movie?
That's a newer version.
Newer version, right? Yeah.
It's the same vibe, but it just sounds better because the other one was us on the street corner singing.
Yeah.
There was no fidelity. Yeah, so I redid it the original way just for sound wise. But people ask me what are my favorite Rockies, and very easy. It's 1 and Balboa, Rocky Balboa. Rocky 2 I love, but I love Rocky 1, but I love Rocky Balboa because it's a different whole take. And I think he was amazing in Creed. And I don't care. I got criticized. He should have won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
I was pissed. I was pissed when he did.
I was so pissed I was sitting next to my mother. We had a big party because everyone thought he was going to win. Even the people he was running against.
Yeah.
It's almost like, in a way, he was a sentimental favorite. They wanted him to win because, all these younger actors grew up with Rocky and Rambo. And so when he lost to Mark Rylance, I said, "Are you kidding me? Come on."
Yeah.
Of course, I got a lot of heat from it, but I said, I don't really care.
I agree with you.
Right. Right is right. Mark Rylance is whatever, an actor, good actor, but he didn't hit the mark on that one. Sorry.
The feeling that I got with Sylvester and Creed in the first Creed was kind of the same feeling that I got with Joe Pesci and The Irishman, because it's the first time we're kind of seeing them old and weak. We're used to seeing Rocky, at his peak. Even in Rocky Balboa, I mean, he looked amazing. You know what I mean? So it was just we were kind of seeing you see the rise and then kind of the peak and then the down. And it was just something that we hadn't seen. I think it was probably the best acting that he's done.
Yeah,
out of all the Rocky movies.
I think so. It's like, like in my documentary, I mean, I wasn't aware, and Stallone, Frank, that is, I was not there for any of the interviews, and I did it on purpose. I did not want to be there. I wanted to get an honest take. Yeah. So when he says in the movie, Frank's anywhere as good as I am and what I try to do, I was like, wow, he's never said that to me. I mean, that's a pretty heavy thing. Or Arnold, these guys done pretty well in their life, I'd say. And to get that, and there have been a few reviews, well, all his friends, I said, yeah, but no one told them to say, they could say, if they thought I was an idiot or a jerk, have it, do it, but no one told anybody what to say. And that was their feeling. And it was very touching. It really was.
Yeah, that really resonated when I heard Sylvester say that. And again, Sylvester's a phenomenal, action star, and you're a phenomenal singer as well too, and very talented actor. And I always wondered, and I hope if Sylvester Stallone doesn't get mad at me, I always wondered why he took the role of Rhinestone, because I figured that would have been a perfect role for you.
It would have, and the thing is, I don't know. I mean, why did he do Stop My Mom Will Shoot? I don't know.
I actually like that.
Yeah, some people do. I thought Rhinestone was funny. Yeah. If people ask me, what is one of your brother's favorite movies, I like Death Race 2000.
Yeah.
It's so cheesy, Roger Corman, but listen, I've done a lot of cheesy movies, so I know. But yeah, I mean, the movie is, we have our ups and downs at every level. Famous people, their careers go, mine has gone like this and that, this, that, and then maybe right here at a lower level, then a little peak, and that. Right now is interesting. I mean, everyone has been telling my life story but me for 45 years. So this movie, when people see it, they'll realize I'm not in the movie all the time. It's other people talking about me, not me talking about me, which is kind of nice for a change, because most actors, that's all they do is talk about themselves, And the sad thing is, 7 of my dear friends that are in the movie have passed on, including my mother. Yeah. So that's kind of, and I haven't seen the movie, not on purpose, but I haven't seen it since all my friends had died. My first drummer died. Sammy Nestico died. My agent, John LaRocca, died. My mother died. Danny Aiello died. Sammy, like I think I said, Sammy Nestico, Russ Regan, who signed me to Polydor. And but the thing is, the thing is, but they're immortal now. Yeah. After everyone's dead and gone, when they go through the dustbin, go, oh, Stallone, Frank, that is. Let's see what this is about. They're, film and pictures are the only thing that can stop time. Think about it. We can't stop time, but that can stop time. A camera, I take a picture, we've stopped time. But in the real world, we can't stop time. It just keeps going.
And I'll be honest, I mean, like I said, I've been a fan for many years, and I thought that, I knew a good amount kind of about your journey, but after doing more, obviously with fans, there's a lot of fans that that really don't know much about you. You know, we know this long career being a singer and all the movie pictures that you've done, but there's still a mystery to you. And that's why I think the timing of this was just wonderful. You know, as far as and I encourage fans to see the documentary, and it's available on Google Play, YouTube, and
Yeah.
Amazon Prime. So it's available on all the popular streaming outlets. But yeah, the timing of it was really good.
You know what I'm curious about? It's really funny with all this, the wonderful interviews I've been doing and everything. I'm wondering on Instagram if they've kind of frozen me because I get all these people following, but my numbers have not moved. I'm still at the same number. And that doesn't make sense to me. And my brother, who has 11 million followers, he even said, "Hey, my thing doesn't move." And I go, mine doesn't move. So is there someone behind the curtain saying, well, you know what? We're just going to leave them right at there? I don't know. It's bizarre. I
Yeah.
don't know. Are my settings wrong? I don't think so.
Yeah, because definitely, as you continue to kind of meet with the fans, and the documentary continues to get more viewership, I would suspect that the following would significantly increase.
Yeah, but it hasn't. And it's kind of, it's not that like I'm living and dying for more followers or stuff like that, but it just sounds strange to me. With a movie, doing all these big interviews, doing TV, where millions of people are seeing you, and being on Amazon and all those sites, you'd think it would like just be going. It's weird. My like a 17-year-old niece has got like 1,000,002 followers, and
Yeah,
she's in high school. What the
yeah,
hell's going on there? Here I am busting my hump out here, and I just got, But still, I have a lot. I mean, 160,000 is still a lot. I mean, to the average person, that's a lot.
yeah.
But I don't know. I thought I would have more. I mean, when a pole dancer has more followers than you, it's kind of scary. Well,
I,
not really.
I'd be curious to see it, say in a few weeks' time or a month's time, once more fans continue to watch the
Yeah,
documentary, and
yeah.
then we can look back and compare and see. But yeah, no, I suspect your following to continue to grow significantly.
I would hope so. I mean, nowadays, you belch, they take you off. So, but I mean, I'm very flattered. I mean, branded films have been awesome. Lee and all the people at Rogers and Cowan and PMK have just been great. I mean, so Liz, like when having a hit record, when you have a great record promoter, great promotion team, and that's what it feels like now. I mean, it's really nice because before I have to do everything,
Yeah,
and I get tired of it. I don't want to do everything. It's too much work. And you've got these younger guys out there, they're professionals, they're really good at what they do. And it really makes life worthwhile because I actually like doing interviews. A lot of people don't. And I very rarely, Lee will tell you, I very rarely turn down an interview because I know it's hard to get interviews. And I know these guys, Lee Meltzer and the gang, all the girls, Emily, they work real hard to get them. And I've heard some stories that they're working their butt off getting interviews, and in the last minute, the guy, whoever, acted, "Oh, I don't feel like doing it." It's like, Jesus, you know what? Take it while you can. I mean, you're promoting your own product.
yeah,
I do them. He'll tell you, I do interviews at 5:30 in the morning if it's overseas, or 11 o'clock at night. You do what you have to do, and that's being a professional,
yeah,
I think. And I enjoy doing it. I mean, I'm talking about my own movie.
yeah.
All my other interviews, I'm always talking about my brother, which I don't mind. But this is a nice change of venue for a bit.
Do you, if the documentary continues with its success, do you see yourself maybe doing an actual film, like a featured film on you, a biographical film?
Well, that'd be a stretch, wouldn't it? I don't know. I don't know if anyone. I don't know. That would be quite interesting, doing a film on myself. A lot of people. There are a few reviews that have been a little dicey, saying, and he also, produced the movie. So, but I did not. I did it to have a little bit of say so,
Yeah.
but I didn't go out and say, hey, I want to do a movie about myself. I did not do that. Some people think I did, but I didn't. But I'm very happy with it. I think everyone did a really good job. And I mean, it's really flattering at my age for how long I've been doing it to have people care enough to do a documentary about you. I mean, come on. You can't beat that, can you?
No, absolutely. And forgive me, but I would hate myself if I didn't ask, because you used to open for one of my favorite comedians.
Don Rickles.
And you did over, it was like over 20 shows. I think you opened for him.
Probably close to, maybe 15, close to.
Yeah.
And yeah, because, you know, I was in competition, you know, God rest his soul, Larry King's wife fancied herself a singer, and Larry and Don were very close. So sometimes I had to kind of take a back seat to Sean Lee, what's his name's wife? Larry King's wife.
Yeah.
And I did Larry King's show. Larry's a good guy, but you know, that's politics, and it's, you know, listen, they're old friends, and you know, it's like they're schmoozing each other. Why not? But I opened for Don a lot. I had a great time. He was great, man. He was always breaking my chops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a badge of honor to get that.
Oh God. Well, I should have the Congressional Medal of Honor, because he used to go off on me. But you know, it was really nice to be opening for a legend. I mean, he's you know, he's the last of that era. He's the last of that Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis thing, you know.
I put Larry kind of in that too, a little bit.
Larry King?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Larry King was great. No, Larry should get his due credit. I mean, the guy was on for a long time. People liked him. I liked him. You know, he was nice to me. You know, he didn't go out to just be mean. And I love that he didn't read your books. He didn't do anything. He just asked you questions. So he was the most prepared guy in the world, right? I mean, he was just, boom. But he was a magnanimous guy. He was great. He was really a cool guy. And we're losing all of those guys. You know, it's you know, when they say old school to me was different. Old school is you show up on time, you do your work, you don't complain. You know, I remember I did a Rickles show. I very rarely get sick. So when I get sick, I very rarely get sick, maybe every 10 years. And I was so sick. I don't know what it was. Was it a flu? I have no idea, but I was dying.
Okay.
And I had to open for Don. I'm there, oh God, I said, I can't, I don't care if they bring me on stage in a gurney. I cannot do it, because he's from that era, man. If I didn't do it, I would never work with him again. I guarantee it, because they're just from, listen, Sinatra's mother crashed into a mountain.
I remember. Yeah. No, I remember.
And that's
yeah.
the way they were. So I said, just get me to the gig. So I was laying down in my friend's station wagon like a hearse. And they took me to the hotel, and it was like one of those things where every bone in your body aches. So I went back to the dressing room. I got dressed. It took me like an hour to get dressed. It was like one of those things. And, you know, of course, Frank, 5 minutes. I'm there, okay. So I hobble up to the stage, and I went on, did my half an hour, and I was done. People go, wow, Frank, it was one of the best shows you've ever done. Go figure. I was like dead. And I did it because that's what I was supposed to do. That's what I was paid to do. And it was a responsibility, because it was an honor to be on stage with Don. So it was like, come on, I'm going to do the right thing here. And I did. And it was great, because the same thing happened with Sinatra. He was doing his 75th birthday at the Meadowlands in New York. It's like 75,000, 80,000 people. And I was there at the Waldorf Astoria because we had the same manager, Elliot Weissman, at that time, or I had the same manager as Frank, rather. And he goes, I don't think we're going to be able to do a show. Frank's got like 103 temperature. The doctor goes, if he goes outside and sings, he could die. And Frank goes, well, if I die, I die. I'm doing the show. He goes, you can't. He goes, yeah, I can do it. I'm Frank Sinatra. I can do anything I want. And he went out there on that stage, like 80,000 people at night. And he did his show. Little sketchy the first few songs, but boom, put the afterburners on, and he did his show. And I said, well, if he can do it under that, the Frankster can do it. And there's one more story I'm going to tell. And this is the truth. And this is where I get my work ethic from. I think I get it from my family, but I get it. there was a place when I lived in Trenton, New Jersey called the Trenton War Memorial. So it was a place like where they have concerts and things like that. Worst snowstorm in 20 years in New Jersey. I mean, bad snowstorm. That night, appearing is Louis Armstrong, Satch. Okay. Promoter comes to Louis Armstrong backstage, said, Satch, you don't have to do the show tonight. There's only 5 or 8 people in the audience. And he said, wait, 5 or 10 people came out in this stone to see Satch? He goes, well, they're going to see Satch. And he did his whole show for 10 people. And that's what you call pro. There's no crybaby. Like Tom Hanks said, there's no crying in music. There's no crying in baseball. You go out and you do your work because people are there to be entertained. They don't want to know about your problems. It's not to bring down business. It's the entertainment business. And I think that kind of comes through a little in the documentary, don't you think?
Absolutely.
The stick-to-itness.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I highly recommend to folks, fans that haven't seen it yet, and we'll share more of the links so that our viewers can get access and kind of know where to direct. But YouTube, Google Play, Amazon Prime. I mean, I loved it. I had the privilege of seeing it and highly recommend it to all the fans that.
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, and also I need some more followers, so go to frank.stallone. No, I'm not kidding, for Instagram.
Make sure you guys all follow Frank.
Yeah, baby. Come on. I got to break that hex. But, I also, in leaving, I have a guitar company called Frank Stallone Guitars. And they're really, really, really good guitars at a good price. And we're doing really well. It's a startup company, but it's doing really well because, being a young kid, I couldn't afford the guitars. So these are really great. They're top grade. We haven't had one complaint, not one return. So that's frankstalloneguitars.com. And I just hope people get something out of the movie. That's all I care about. I care about did Frank say something or do something that maybe inspires me to do my best and do what I can. And to me, that's all you can ask. Yeah,
no, I agree. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's singing, acting, interviewing. You just stick with it and have a passion for it. That's what's most important.
It is.
In there. Frank, can't thank you enough, and again, super honored. And if the inner kid came out a few times, I tried holding him in. But
yeah,
thank you for joining today. And
my pleasure, man.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, definitely. We'll love to connect sometime in the future as well.
Oh, we will. And have a great day, man.
You too. Cheers.
Take care, son. Okay.